Alright, back for Dream 10. So, for a change in non-UFC related video. Yay! Alright, we have a sort of done card for this event. Dream is always very bad about actually giving us complete cards at the proper time. So I'm going to start at the bottom of what MMA Playground has and work my way to the top because it looks about like it's probably about the right order. Alright, first up we have Seiichi Ikimoto. I've seen him fight before, but don't ask me to pronounce his name. Versus a guy who I've not seen fight, and Tarek Saffiedine. I'm going to go with Tarek. He appears to be a submission fighter. I could not find any footage of him, so I'm kind of making this pick very, very blind. Those of you who know more about him are probably more equipped to take the pick. That being said, if you are worth your weight, you basically beat Ikimoto. That's kind of the story of his career. Is he's like basically he distinguishes you from a legit fighter from a can, and that's about it. JT Money Taylor, Jesse Taylor versus Don Sik Yoon. Went back and forth on this. Not really, actually. I thought Don Sik Yoon was going to win this fight because I thought he would submit Jesse Taylor easily. But then I thought of something. Jesse Taylor is, despite the fact that he's not a very smart human being, he's a smart fighter. I could see him potentially brawling Yoon Dong Sik to unanimous decision, and that's kind of what I'm going to go with. So I'm going with JT Jesse Taylor by unanimous decision. Andre Galvao versus Jason High. Jason High in the past has shown a susceptibility to, when it's on the ground, to being a bit of a fish out of water. He is a pretty decent striker with some decent wrestling, and Andre Galvao is an excellent grappler, but he does not have very good wrestling. Now, this is the problem I think a lot of BJJ guys run into, is they just don't have the wrestling to compete. But that being said, High doesn't have amazing wrestling by any means. I think Galvao will get it down. I think he will submit him in the first round. Hayota Maha versus Marius Zamrovskis. This will be godlike. This will be an awesome fight if these two fight anything like they normally do. Zamrovskis, never in a boring fight. Honestly, it doesn't matter who he's fighting. It could be Ross Mason. It could be any like low-level British can, and it'll still be a great fight. And it could be a more top-notch fighter, and it'll still be a wicked fight. He's not amazingly talented by any means, but he is a fairly well-rounded fighter. His biggest weapon, though, still is determination and heart. He is going to be fighting Maha Sakurai, who is the more talented of the two fighters, but I think is slightly undersized at 170. That being said, Zamrovskis is not a huge 170. I believe we'll be taking Sakurai by UD, but I don't think he finishes Zamrovskis, and I think this will be potentially the fight of the night. And at the end of the night, obviously my prediction would be Sakurai versus Galvao in the final. I would take Sakurai because I just don't see a one-dimensional fighter like Galvao being able to win this tournament. Then we have Ahmad Dida, Andre Ahmad, versus Kasunori Kikuno. Kikuno is a decent fighter, but I don't think he'll be able to deal with Dida's striking and just, raw. This is about as close to a shootbox fighter as you're going to find right now outside of the UFC, and I think he's going to basically shootbox him to death. Second round TKO. Melvin Manhoff versus Paulo Fio. Okay, this is a hard fight to call because if Paulo Fio actually regains a semblance of his former self, meaning I'm not talking to people that are not there while I'm fighting Chael Sonnen, then he has a shot at winning this fight, and I think a very good one, because if he can take Manhoff down, I don't think there's much of a question. The problem is, he's not looked like that. He's looked utterly terrible during his WEC run, and he hasn't really shown a lot to me that suggests he's out of that. So I'm going to go with Melvin Manhoff via first round donkey punch, basically, and knockout. Main event of the evening, Shinya Aoki, Vitor Shaolin Ribeiro. This is the type of grappling fight that can make you love grappling. This should be a very interesting fight and a very exciting fight because you have two of the best grapplers at lightweight. Top 5 in the division, at the very least, I think. I would not go as far as to say they're the two best. I think Aoki is the best, but I don't think Shaolin's number 2. You have Shaolin coming in here. He has a bit of a wrestling advantage. if, in my opinion, but it's small if it is even there. If he can take down Aoki and put him on bottom, he has a shot at winning this fight. If Aoki comes out, takes Shaolin down very easily, it's going to be a very, very, very hard night for Shaolin because he's not going. I don't think he'll be able to hold off Aoki on top. But it should be an exciting fight. These two guys, I think, have too much confidence and ego in a good way to deviate from their usual game plans just because they're fighting each other. I think this will be a grappling fest, and if you just have utterly no interest in seeing grappling, no matter, and I want to make this clear, this will not be lay and pray, which is boring. This will be an exciting grappling match akin to probably a more submission-oriented version of Frankie Edgar and Tyson Griffin would be a good example. But this will be a very good fight. I'm taking Aoki via decision, which is weird because I think this is the first time I've ever predicted Aoki by decision. This being said, I think Aoki has the grappling edge. I think he will, even if he gets taken down, be able to sweep Shaolin at least a few times and kind of just dominate him on top. I don't think he finishes him, and that's my reasoning. And it's a good card all around. I encourage you to watch it on July 20th. Whenever you can watch it, it'll probably replayed a couple of times on HDNet. So, you know, if you got the channel, watch it. And later.